Thank you, dear viewers, for staying with us. We're back here for continuous coverage of events taking place here in Egypt and around the world on Nile TV International's special edition of news coverage. And Israel said on Thursday that the date for the opening of the Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt would be announced at a later stage, and that aid would not pass through the gateway. The date for opening the Rafah crossing for the movement of people only will be announced at a later stage, in what appears to be a response to the fact that Hamas has given back only 9 of the dead bodies of hostages out of the 28. And on another front, addressing an assembly of Palestinian ministers, UN heads of agency and diplomatic heads of mission, the Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa said that he believes that 12 months from now the Palestinian National Authority will be fully operational in Gaza. On a separate front, U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday threatened to go in and kill Hamas if it keeps killing people in Gaza, in apparent reference to recent shootings of some Palestinians who are believed to have cooperated or collaborated with the Israeli occupation. A lot is happening on the file of the Just Palestinian Cause and in the Gaza file, and this is coming only a few days after the historic Sharm el-Sheikh summit here in Egypt, and the historic ceasefire deal and peace deal brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump and mediated by Egypt, Turkey and Qatar. With us now live over the phone is Dr. Ahmed Mostafa, the international relations expert. Thank you very much, Dr. Mostafa, for joining us. So it's been 3 days now since the Sharm el-Sheikh summit, where 29 world leaders attended here in the city of peace, and it seems that the Israeli pretexts for breaking the deal or have begun, and that no opening of the Rafah crossing border, border crossing, a delay of the entrance of aid, killing of Palestinians day in and day out for 3 consecutive days now. Your comments, sir?
Look, it's a very good question, and we have to talk to the people because we witnessed all these historic agreement that was undersigned by the 2 leaders and presidents, Mr. Sisi from our side and Trump from the other side. However, we know that there are some technical, issues will take place in this regard, because the most important question, if you remember, Mr. Mohammed, that and I was asked all over or throughout the past 2 weeks, what are the guarantees and what makes Israel adhere to, the agreement. I told you there are some technical difficulties, and also don't forget that Israel never, and according to the verse of Quran itself, they never adhere to any kind of deal, even with Prophet Muhammad or things like that. How can they adhere to such deal with the Arab side, or with the Palestinians, or with the others? But there are the issues that make them adhere to that. First, the Arab countries and the Muslim countries and the guarantors itself, because if it will last like this, and this reluctance from the Israeli side not to open Gaza, crossing in this regard, I think the guarantors, Egypt, Turkey, as well as Qatar, and the others like Pakistan and Indonesia and the other Muslim countries, as I said before, they have to, support the stance of each of them, start to take like escalation against Israel in that respect. And they're starting to maybe making like a siege or a blockade against Israel also. This is very important in this regard. And also they have to take this because you know that Mr. Trump himself, he said that you know, the ceasefire took place and so on. They have to remind him and giving reminders that what is going on from the Israeli side. Also, the Israeli side, they are adhered that they didn't receive yet, you know, there's some dead, you know, bodies or corpse from the Hamas or the Qassam or so on. But we witness, according to what we hear from all the media worldwide, that there are some, you know, difficulties in that regard, because some bodies were decayed, some bodies that we found out under Qassam trying to prove to the world they were not for Israeli, you know, IDF members, whether soldiers or officers and so on, but they were such mercenaries, and they don't have the Israeli nationality, frankly speaking. Also, Israel wants to revenge because Hamas and Al-Qassam started to make this field, you know, execution of the betrayed parts, as you mentioned in your question in this regard, and they managed to control all of them and to show to the whole world that there is no place in the new Palestinian state for the betrayed and for the cheating people. That made Israel feel that Hamas is still having the upper hand, and the resistance is still having the upper hand, and it will be like that. Also, once we one more point.
Yes.
Once we go to, you know, the ceasefire agreement with Lebanon that was undersigned last November. Look how many times Israel violated the ceasefire agreement. I think it's around 1 year. Every day the drones and the shooting is just, you know, breaking this kind of ceasefire agreement by killing innocents every day, including and not limited to that person who was like one of the victims of the major, you know, incident, and his wife in a car. And that was very scandalous for, you know, for Israel, and unfortunately very scandalous to the regime of Lebanon right now that was very lazy to take an action against them.
Dr. Mostafa, we've heard contradictory statements from Mr. Trump regarding the Hamas executions of those believed to have collaborated with the Israeli occupation before the ceasefire. We've heard Mr. Trump a couple of days ago saying that he doesn't sympathize with those who you know, collaborated with Israel inside of Gaza, and who purportedly killed Palestinian civilians while they were receiving aid because they wanted to steal that aid. And but today, this Thursday, we're hearing Mr. Trump saying that he will intervene if Hamas continues this policy. So which Trump are we supposed to believe?
I told you. We have also another technical issue that the media, or the American media, they are taking all the narratives of the Israeli side as if it's biblical, or coming from, you know, the New Testament or the Old Testament. This is another problem. And they never, you know, take into consideration the testimonies that are coming from our side and from the reality. This is another problem, not just for Trump. It is the problem for the regimes of the West, because they are supporting, you know, the practices of this fanatic and this killing regime that practiced the genocide and the Holocaust and the atrocities against, you know, the innocent people 2 years ago. It's not very strange for them. And here, as I told you, all the Muslims, especially the guarantors, should make like a memorandum, should make a memorandum for all the violations and send it immediately to President Trump to counter, you know, the bad or the misinformed narrative that's coming from the Israeli side in this regard, and they have to urge Trump that to be adhered with the stipulations he already said, because he said now we are very close to the third part of the third phase of the agreement of the ceasefire, that is concerning the reconstruction and the governance of Gaza. However, we're still in the first or the second phase.
That is the question. Are we in the first or in the second? Because we've heard from Israel saying that it will not move to the second phase until it receives all of the bodies of the dead hostages. Although these hostages could be in the 53% area that it controls, although they could be meters under the ground and the rubble somewhere where Israel used the equivalent of 8 nuclear bombs to target Gaza. So, I mean, it's very difficult to find these bodies, and this will take time. But Mr. Trump says that the second phase has begun. So, on this very specific question, whom should we believe? Are we in the first or second phase?
I think they are contradicted because he himself, Mr. Trump, and one of his, statements, he said to the media, yeah, we know that we have some problems concerning, the dead bodies and how to deliver and how to hand to Israel. He said that himself. Because, if some bodies, and I said that over 2 weeks ago, if some bodies decayed or occurred to some issues, or already having what you have said, Mr. Mohammed, bombarding or rappels or so on, how can the Hamas or the other resistance group can extract them and deliver it to them? Also, as I told you, some of them, they were mercenaries. They don't have the Israeli nationalities, as we received from the media today. There is another problem.
Yeah.
This is exactly the way, and this is like, any kind of argument that made, the Israeli side not to be adhered to the ceasefire. But we were expecting that from day one, and despite of that, you can find also that there is like a joy from the people of Gaza and the other Palestinians who received their arrested people over the past 2 years, and also the other who were sentenced to life in the Israeli prisons so far, and so on. And the people who already, remained after 2 years, throughout 2 years under bombarding and things like that, they have the full patience just to do it. And if you hear to the Israeli TVs and views and so on, most of them, they agreed that, the agreement was to the favor of Hamas 100%, because, unfortunately, for some Arab figures in the media, and I don't want to mention the name, and some of them, it was very scandalous, and shame on them yesterday to mention that, to say that there will remain some of the authorities and power to Hamas, despite of the deal, and we expected just to extinguish Hamas from Gaza and from, so on.
Yes.
I think those people should correct their behavior in this regard, because at least they are Arabs, and at least, unfortunately, they are Muslims as well.
Dr. Mostafa, the issue of the disarmament or putting the weapons down of Hamas will be a very, very thorny issue. We've heard Mr. Trump saying that he got promises from Hamas that they will lay down their weapons, but we also understand that according to the Trump plan, this can only happen once an international stabilization force is inside of Gaza. And we've also heard Hamas voices saying that as long as the occupation exists, this is going to be very hard, and if the weapons are going to be given to anyone, they'll be given to a Palestinian committee, an independent Palestinian committee, or once there is a viable independent Palestinian state. I know this issue will remain, this issue will be one of the thorniest issues moving ahead. The question is, why is it being mentioned now, very early on Although this, even according to the Trump plan, should only occur once at least an international stabilizing force is inside of Gaza, and some sort of body is ruling Gaza.
Some of the stipulations of the points of this agreement is really, as you said, is thorny. And having the proper explanation and, hearing different kind of interpretation or explanation for each side. Because, for example, Hamas, they said, yes, we will hand these weapons first to Arab, authority that will, replace us in this in Gaza.
Yes.
And under some conditions, the whole ceasefire and the whole, withdrawal from the land of Gaza, from the Israeli side.
Yes.
That was the interpretation of Hamas. For the other side, they said that there's going to be like international forces in this regard. And Mr. Badr Abdelati, and it was a very smart, answer from his side once the CNN reporter asked him about, the forces that will replace Hamas in Gaza. He said, why the Americans, for example, cannot send such kind of forces just to replace, and there will be kind of international forces to replace Hamas in this regard. He knows that the West itself will never agree, because they don't want the West to have a full confrontation with Hamas or with Israel in the future if Israel is not adhered to its commitments. And we know what's happening, because we have international forces over there in that's called the UNIFIL in the south of Lebanon. And Israel, they are not committed to the ceasefire, and sometimes they have confrontation, and sometimes they kill some members of them. Therefore, they have a bad example of the UNIFIL in south of Lebanon. Therefore, the two sides, for America, they want maybe some Arab, forces and troops within Gaza. And for some others, they want international forces in this regard. And also, once Badr Abdelati said that, he just wants them to experience how much it is very hard and difficult for international forces to come to Gaza and to keep, the stability and the peace and security over there. And it was a very smart, answer from his side. And then I found that, the foreign minister of Germany yesterday, once he was asked about this matter, he said it should be according to a legal framework. That, in my explanation, or in my interpretation for this, it will take years just to decide that.
Well, now, finally, going back to the historic Sharm el-Sheikh summit, co-chaired by President Sisi and President Trump, and where President Trump, President Sisi, President Erdogan, and Emir Tamim signed the accord in the attendance of 20 plus other world leaders and leaders of international institutions. So as if now the gathering was not only a witness to the signing, but as if it was a guarantor, also a guarantor to the accord. Can anyone retract from this accord? I mean, other than Israel, I mean. Can anyone retract from this peace deal? And will this lead to, is this only about Gaza, or is this the first path towards the real thing, which is the only thing that can bring peace and stability to the region, as Egypt has said for decades, a viable and independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem, Al-Quds as its capital, borders of June 4, 1967, according to UN resolutions?
As you said, it was historical, and the matter of retracting will only take place from the Israeli side, unfortunately, because the Israeli side, they think that they can violate any kind of agreement with the full protection and fenders from both United States and the regime not the people even of the United States or the EU. For our side, we are committed, because we always, that Egypt is one of the countries that, respecting the international law, and we are one of the best lawmakers and diplomacy, maybe, and I'm saying in the world, because we convinced the whole world just to come to Sharm el-Sheikh via amazing scenery that never took place before. And despite Mr. Sisi, he didn't, he didn't go to the UNGA, but the whole world came to Sharm el-Sheikh.
So the question, maybe I should ask the question this way. Can Mr. Trump, who has not yet won the Nobel Peace Prize, can he retract from this deal under pressure from Israel, under any pretext?
I think not, because Trump, he has some, problems, as we said before, domestic problems and international problems, domestic problems in the United States concerning, the blockade of the government, of the federal government. Also the midterm elections, and with the rise and the surge of the Democrats. We have the elections of mayorship in New York, and he has Zahran Mohammadani over there. The recession that is very close, and today the statement of the Federal Reserve governor, and he said that we don't know exactly, the inflation is not under control at all, and things like that. Also, he has international issues. Don't forget what's happening in Ukraine, and he wants, and today we hear that Orbano, the president of Hungary, he stated that it could be the right place for the next, summit between the Tsar, Mr. Putin, and Mr. Trump. And also he has the problems with China after China stopped, importing the soya beans, and also China, abstained from giving the rare, elements to, and the magnets to the United States, which will, downgrade all the industries, including, the military industries, which is the most important export to the world now by the United States.
One final question, Dr. Mostafa, sorry for interruption. One final question. Now the whole world almost is in favor of a Palestinian state. We saw that at the UN General Assembly, and it's only Israel, the US, and very few other countries that are against. When, if ever, do you think that the Arab and Muslim states, and even Europe now, and Colombia, can convince Mr. Trump that the only way forward, the only way for lasting peace is a two-state solution? When and if?
Yeah, as I said, they should be unified in one, front, and just convince. And he is convinced, because the guy, as I told you, he has some issues, maybe going to having like some contracts of the reurbanization or reconstruction in Gaza itself with the others in that respect, because don't forget that he's a businessman. And also he want to keep the stability of the fuel supplies from the region as well, because it is the cheaper for him. Otherwise it will be like a devastating problems for him and for the United States. As I told you, the inflation is very high in the United States as well as in the West, and they are suffering. And he told Israel itself, once he was in Jerusalem, via his long speech, that if you continue for 1 more year or 2 years, it will be a very difficult situation for Bibi. He already admitted that, because the economics, they give Israel around $55 billion for nothing, because Israel didn't achieve anything in this regard. The further matter, once you press in your claim, and just to remind him just to be adhered to the agreement and just to make Israel adhered. And once he stops, support to Israel, I think this matter will be achieved. Otherwise, as I told you, the unity of the Arab and the Muslim and South-South, countries.
And we have Europe with us now. We have Europe with us now. Yeah.
Yes. Because Europe is suffering also. The taxpayers, they have a very big problem, and they are buying the energy of 8 times, similar to the 8 times more than the previous Russian one. There are a lot of chaotic issues that will make them being adhered to this. And also they have Europe itself, they have some aspirations just to already obtain the natural gas from Egypt and from the South Mediterranean in a peaceful manner and without any complications or any problem. And Egypt is the only country in that respect is qualified for this because they have the infrastructure in Damietta and Rosetta as well.
All right.
Therefore, any complication from the Israeli side, I think it will be negative for them. I'm talking here about the economics, and economics are more realistic than the politics in this regard.
All right, thank you very much, as always. Dr. Ahmed Mostafa, the international relations expert, for your time and your insight. And dear viewers, please stay with Nile TV. In less than 10 minutes' time, we'll be back with Panorama News. Thank you for staying with us.